see it's 4 o'clock, so I think we can start off. With me, I've got Greta Robinson, our Head of Curriculum Development. My name is Albert Dryfoot. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Head of Operations and Training at Inspire Africa. And this afternoon, we are going to explore the Inspire curriculum, specifically the Inspire CAPS-aligned coding and robotics curriculum. That doesn't only include coding and robotics, but also things like 3D printing and so forth. Our focus will be about presenting some sample lessons to explore the actual layout and how one would go about presenting one of our Inspire lessons. Now, you might remember that I think it was episode 2 was also around the Inspire campus, our proprietary call it online system where educators can access our content. But that was more of an overview. Today we're going to look a little bit more in detail at a few examples of lessons specifically. We will kick off straight away, but to our viewers, please feel free to add your questions and comments in the comment section. If you have any questions, we'll have a question Q&A session at the end of the presentation. But if you have any questions during the presentations, you're more than welcome to put them also into the chat itself. Just a quick overview for those of you that don't know Inspire Africa. We provide fourth industrial revolution technologies to schools, and that consists from coding, 3D printing, drones, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and so forth, where we provide our schools with the necessary hardware, educator training, and most importantly, the curricula, including lesson plans and worksheets to be able to present these concepts within subjects, but also as a standalone subject. Our curriculum, as I've mentioned, is available via the Inspire campus, where you'll find all our courses, lesson resources. Many of these resources are available for educators, and then also quite a few of these resources are focused specifically at the students also. In other words, student facing, so students can also then get access to this material, to the exercises, and so forth. Currently, we cover from grade 3 to grade 12. We are in the process of finalizing grade R to grade 2, which should be ready in the very near future. You might even see some examples of that today. If you would like to have a look at our Inspire campus, for those of you that are not on board with the Inspire programs, the website is there in the bottom left corner. Easy as just lms.inspire.africa and you will find it. The agenda for today, we're going to look at the login process for educators and students. It's slightly different. Then we'll have a look at the getting started section, where we have our frequently asked questions, training manuals, and all those kind of resources for educators. Then Greta will take us through the various categories, levels and units. You'll see that we are slowly but surely moving away from talking about grades, but rather talking about levels. But I'll leave that to Greta to explain in more detail. And then we'll do a demo of a lesson in the foundation phase, and one in the intermediate phase, and then in the senior phase. And then lastly, we'll just have a quick look at our simulators, focusing specifically on the drone blocks simulator. And then if there is time, we'll have a quick look on how you as an educator can monitor the students' progress. So I'm going to hand over to Greta Robinson, our Head of Curriculum Development, to facilitate the rest of this session with you.
Thank you, Albert. Hi, everybody. Wonderful sunny afternoon here in the Western Cape. Right, so today I'm going to just demonstrate to you how to navigate our Inspire campus. We are getting a lot of educators who are on board and educators that are not on board that are struggling to either navigate the campus or who would like a introduction to the courses that we have to offer, and how do they go about finding these courses and enrolling. So I'm just going to share my screen. I am going to go through the basics slowly and meticulously so that we are able to navigate from start to finish, and those of you who are with us will be able to navigate through the Inspire Campus comfortably. And we are going to focus today on our core coding and robotics curriculum. Right, so to find our curriculum, there are two different ways that you can do that. You can type into your browser lms.inspire.africa. For those of you who have shared screens, or you've got, you're on your phone, you've got a device, or you can minimize the Meet and, create a different browser, you are more than welcome to follow along with me so that you can experience going through the campus yourself as well. So that is one way to navigate to find our Inspire Campus through the LMS. The other way is to type in our website, inspire.africa. Very simple and easy to remember. On the Inspire Africa website, you've got an Inspire Campus button over there that you can click. That will also take you into your login account. So I'm just going to close one for myself so that I don't get confused throughout the session. While I'm explaining everything, please feel free to pop a message into the message box or raise your hand and stop me anytime. If you have a question, perhaps you've gone through some of the courses and you are recognizing, a question for yourself, please feel free to jump in at any time. So the login over here is on the top right-hand corner. For those educators who are not onboarded with Inspire Africa, you cannot register at this point here. You can, however, send us an inquiry through our Inspire Campus. To gain access to a login detail, this happens through the onboarding process when your school onboards onto the, with Inspire Africa, and we provide you then with a password that you are able to change. That is for the educator. Your learners will also receive codes to be able to use as usernames. Because of the POPI Act, we are unable to gather the data and the names of your students at this point. So Inspire Africa sends the school a list of usernames that the school can allocate to their different students to access the campus themselves. Within the campus, it's really easy to change your profile and to change your name so that you as the educator can see which student has been up to what. All right, so as you log into your account, you would add in your email address or your username and then your password and then log in. This is the home page of our LMS, right? We've got different sections at the top here, which refers to home, which gives you an overview. It's all the courses and the categories that we have. If you have, in particular, only been enrolled into certain courses, you would find those certain courses under My Courses. I'm not going to click on there right now because as an administrator and developer on the LMS, I've got access to all the courses, so it will just create a confusing image. But for those of you who are only accessing certain courses, that's where you will find those certain courses that you are enrolled in. Right, and then site administration is for developers side. Right, so you will also notice that my screen might have a little bit more than your screen does. Again, I'm just iterating here that because I'm an administrator, you will see some of the courses here, that I use to develop. And on your screen, you should not have access to any of those courses. All right, getting started over here, you will see on the first category. So these over here are just categories. Within each category hosts more categories, and then it includes courses. As we know, in schools, we are divided into different phases. Within our phases, we are in different grades. Within different grades, we have different subjects. And within certain subjects, we've got different topics and strands. And it works exactly the same on our Inspire campus. So getting started, this is in particular for educators who might have received training a while ago or just the other day, but they would like to access some of the training material, the user manuals that they have for the hardware that they have purchased. So we have got an entire section here on just help for the Inspire bot. This is just help for those who have the iSense, and they include the user manuals, frequently asked questions, how to connect the device to your phone, and such. And then there's some coding activities in between all of these sessions, these categories as well. It includes the FlashForge Adventurer 3, our new Steam drone, the Lightbee, as well as the Tello drone. If you look at the top here, these are Inspire question help. So here you can click in and you are able to see different frequently asked questions. Here is a little overview on our Inspire STEAM curriculum. Here are certain curriculum paths that you are able to follow. So before you start teaching using the Inspire Campus, I highly recommend that you go through our frequently asked questions so that you can see how you can optimally use our curriculum within your school environment. I'm going to click one back. All of our webinars are also sitting on our Getting Started category, and you can access all of our webinars, including this one, that you can share with your colleagues. Right, and then we've got our Inspire posters. So this is a development in process whereby we are using graphics and images that we have from the courses that we develop, and we have created nice, colorful A3 posters that you can use to place into your computer lab or in your classroom. It's quite a large file. It's an A3 size, but it can also be printed in A4. But it's nice posters from digital literacy to drone coding, scratch coding, different block coding, etc. I just see it's taking a while to load. So you can see on the left-hand side, there are quite a number of posters that you can use. A lot of these posters are quite agnostic and can be used for teaching different concepts and within different STEAM subjects as well, including IT. All right, so you can see that there is a great breadcrumb at the top, and you are able to navigate back on your breadcrumb. So I'm just going to go back to my courses, and this is where I started. All right. Furthermore, we've got our different categories. We start here in our foundation phase, which is our grade R to 3, our intermediate phase, senior phase, FET phase. We also have several short courses and industry programs. This is where a lot of our educator courses also sit. We currently have an educator course with 40 SACE points that can also be used in life orientation. Right, we have got access here, direct access to our Drone Blocks curriculum, which I'll show you a little bit later, simulator environments, and then the FT schools. I highly recommend all of our schools to sign up to be subscribed to the Financial Times resources. They are a partner of ours, and your, in particular, grade 10 to 12 students can gain valuable resources from FT schools. Right, so you would just click in there and you would fill in your school details, and then you will be able to have access for the Financial Times content that they have available. All right.
Greta,
Are there any questions at this point? Am I going too slowly?
No, all good, all good. Greta, I'd just like to add on the Financial Times access, even schools that are not on board with Inspire programs can get access to those free resources. So for those of you that might not be on part of the Inspire schools yet, you can still access all of that.
Thank you. Yes, for those of you who are not onboarded with us, when I went in the login and I skipped this step, they're assigned in as a guest, where you will be able to view exactly what I'm viewing. You will not be able to access the courses. And as a guest, you can click into the Financial Times schools and register your school to gain resources. Right. Then you will notice here that although I've got a grade 10 to 12 here or a grade R to 3, like Albert mentioned, we are now moving to levels. So in the foundation phase, you will see that I'm starting to refer to level 0, level 1, level 2. Educator to educator, we are referring to our levels as level 0 being grade R, level 1 being grade 1, level 7 being grade 7. However, we are finding more and more that some of our grade 7 learners or our grade 9 learners have never done any coding, robotics, 3D modeling before, which makes it appropriate to put them onto a level 4 course so that they can build fundamentals as they progress in their, for example, 3D modeling skills or coding skills. So here on foundation phase, we have a coding and robotics curriculum, which is CAPS aligned. Right, currently our level 3 and level 0 over here. So unit 1 referring to term 1, your educators can click into the course and you'll be able to view the front page. Now, just a heads up in terms of learner access. We do not offer learner access yet for the foundation phase. At this point, it is very educator facing and a resource tool for educators to use. However, from grade 4 onwards, your learners can have access. So this is just an example of a lesson plan or a lesson for the foundation phase. So I know most of our educators on board here are intermediate and senior phase, but I'll just showcase some of the offline unplugged activities that we do offer for our foundation phase. So a lot of resources for our educator to use, and then flashcards, additional cutouts that they can use to put into their classroom. Our grade 0 or our level 0 through to grade 2 is completely unplugged. And then in grade 3, they start with basic Scratch code in Scratch Junior for block-based coding. All right, so in terms of our foundation phase, we have got a full coding and robotics curriculum from grade R through to grade 3. Now I'm going to hop onto the intermediate phase. At the top here, you can see an intermediate phase catalog. This is a bird's eye view of the content and the curriculum that we have available. These are the courses. This is just a little bit of information on the course, and then the lessons available and the recommended time that you can spend on the lesson. So before you navigate through all the different courses, this provides you with a nice overview of what is available in the category. As you can see, our courses are available below. Again, our intermediate phase as well as our senior phase is divided into different categories. Before I demonstrate a core coding and robotics curriculum lesson, I'm just going to show we have got courses for our level 4 through to level 6, grade 4 to level 6 in block coding using drone blocks and Scratch. I'll just show and open that up so that you can see it. Right, so there are different courses just on block-based coding. As a developer myself, I aim for each one of these courses to be a term long. So majority of our courses are between, let's say, 7 to 10 lessons, aiming at 1 to 2 hours per lesson per week, creating a 10-week time slot for you to be able to complete one course. All right, we have got robotics courses, which focus on some of the hardware, including the microbit, our expansion board, as well as our iSense. Our iSense is a South African-made product developed by ourselves with a microbit that can host over 50 sensors, external sensors, which is perfect for STEAM labs, scientific testing, and really applying sensor education to your lesson. We've also got levels 4 to 6 in 3D modeling and design. So if you are wanting to implement 3D modeling and design from a grade 4 level, we have got courses available for you as well. All of our 3D modeling, our block coding courses are step by step with instructions for you to use in your classroom. Our IRLs are real life missions, which I'll demonstrate in the senior phase. This really takes the content that students are studying in their classrooms, in their subjects, in social sciences, natural sciences, technology, in engineering, arts, including languages, and mathematics. And it consolidates concepts that are CAPS aligned and brings a sense of 21st century tools using the technology that the school has invested in to be able to create real life situations, scenarios, and solve those problems. So from inspecting volcanoes to relocating rhinos, delivering food boxes, etc., all is in our IRL section. Right, our I thinks are subject-specific lesson plans. So this is also just a quick demonstration of our grade 4 through to grade 6. We also have for grade 7s. And these are subject-specific lesson plans. So you as a technology educator can be saying to your core STEAM colleagues who are teaching in this lesson, social sciences and technology, they can use this lesson to consolidate map work by using a drone. All right, over here, they're using grid references to code a flight route using a drone. All right, so there are different 21st century skills that teachers can be using within the core subjects. All right, it also includes website creation. So even from a grade 4 level, so step-by-step instructions for you to do so. Right, now going into our core coding and robotics curriculum. This one here is level 4 through to level 6. Now, for those of you who have studied the CAPS curriculum for coding and robotics will know that it's still in draft and it has not yet been finally approved. However, what we picked up from this document is that it is covering 4 essential strands within the intermediate and senior phase. There are 5 strands within the foundation phase. And this includes application, internet and e-communications, algorithms and coding, and robotic skills. Now, according to the CAPS document, they've taken each of these 4 strands and they've allocated an hour to 2 hours or to 3 hours a term or per 10-week cycle to each of these different strands. So according to the CAPS document, you are covering all 4 strands within 1 term. And then the next term, it's all 4 strands with just a bit of progression. What we have decided to do is to take these 4 strands and divide them into 4 different terms. All right, so each of these include, here it's 8 to 11 lessons, and these all form part of a full term's worth of work, with 1 term being application, 1 term robotics, 1 term algorithms and coding, 1 term internet and e-communication, which completes a full year for level 4 through to level 9. So that's grade 4 through to grade 9. All right, application really focuses on Microsoft applications such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. And we've got lesson plans available in there. Our robotics, right, introduces learners to the microbit. We also pay a lot of attention to the fundamentals of robotics, which includes circuit design, mechanical structures, mechanical fasteners, and we've got lesson plans available for that. Algorithms and coding is what I'm going to demonstrate to you. And then we've got internet and e-communication, which can be done within your coding and robotics curriculum or can be added into your computer session that you have available at your school or IT. All right, it focuses on social media, Internet of Things, cloud computing, AI, etc., from grade 4 through to grade 6. Now, just to introduce one strand here to you is our algorithms and coding. So for grade 4, you could start with your block coding in Scratch for those schools who have never done any form of coding. In the robotics section, there is also block coding using the microbit and MakeCode, but that includes an element of hardware. Within the algorithms and coding strand, there is no hardware in this strand. It is just focused on basic fundamentals of coding. Right, so each course has got just your course features on the right-hand side to tell you how many lessons there are, what quizzes there are, is there an assessment? And in this case, yes, there is a practical assessment task available. It provides you with an overview of the course, and I just want to iterate, this is the same for every single course on the LMS, is the overview with the features. Every course also includes a curriculum planner. Now, this curriculum planner is valid for either the course that you could do over a term, or if you just wanted to use a certain amount of lessons from the course, you'd be able to find it within the curriculum planner. The curriculum planner is downloadable so that you can view it, store it, and use it as you need. It's a nice overview of the lesson title, what is happening in the lesson, an overview of the learner activities, and what resources and equipment you require for the entire term. So this is just a nice bird's eye view of the course. All right, just to go back, I'm going back on my breadcrumb, back to my curriculum planner, which is going to take me to my homepage of the course. As you can see here, we've got our different lessons. Lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then over here, 8 is our practical task. That also includes a rubric, which I will demonstrate for you in a moment. All right, just taking a look here, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to showcase the lesson. There we go. Lesson 4 for you. All right, so over here, obviously, you're getting introduced to Scratch. It's very basic, the fundamentals of it. And I'm going to go into lesson 4. All right, each lesson has got the same similar layout. It includes your lesson plan. Now, for some courses, your learners will not be able to access the educator resources. So they will not see lesson 4 lesson plan. Only you as a teacher who has got educator rights will be able to see that. So you would then click into your lesson. Over here, you can download the lesson. I'm just going to save it there and pop it over there. Need to refresh that. And you can either use it alongside when you are teaching, or you can download and print it and save it in your teacher file. All right, just for a bigger view, because I don't think you can see that one nicely. Each lesson has got a specific exit learning outcome. This describes what is going to be achieved as a whole in the lesson. So at the end of this lesson, learners should have a clear understanding of how to use the command blocks such as join and ask and answer to create codes within Scratch Junior. All right, we also have our learning outcomes. For those educators who are familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, that is the format that we use for our learning outcomes. We also focus a little bit on the content and concepts that the learners will learn throughout this lesson. All right, so this over here is your procedure. You would be able to access some of the links. Let's say your network is slow, so you will be able to access some of the video links through the PDF document, and you'll be able to see the basic procedure of how to use the content that is on the LMS. All right, so in this lesson, you can see we've got a lot of guided activities. This is another guided activity and a guided activity. And then there is a worksheet to consolidate what the learners have learned in the lesson. Every lesson on the LMS has got a learner resource. We are being asked more and more that students or teachers are wanting to assess our coding and robotics curriculum but that they need to be able to send content home or theory home for learners to study. This also allows for learners to facilitate their own learning and giving them basic instructions. Previously, before I was at Inspire Africa, I was an educator as well. And the amount of briefs that I created for learners, was mind-blowing as well. So creating a worksheet for our teachers on the content that they've just studied or gone through on our LMS makes it much easier for you to be able to hand your learners some resources. So really some theory within the worksheet, and then an activity. All right, so these are just nice questions that they can answer, and they're then going to create an interactive story. And this is for the worksheet after they have completed the guided activity. Again, our worksheet includes pictures, so educators can feel free to download this and then push the content to the learners' tablets if you are an online school. All right, or you can print it out, separate your lesson plan from your worksheet, and then make copies for the learners. All of our content and our additional resources also has a memorandum for the teachers, right? So that you've got the content and the answers for those questions that are on the worksheet. All right, so just back on our page over here, the ease to navigate through the lesson plan lies in the bottom right-hand corner. If at all you get lost, you can just go back to the top and you're able to navigate back on the breadcrumb. So just for this sake over here, I'm going to move on to Introduction to Join Blocks. So you can look at this resource as a glorified PowerPoint, or it can be your aid or your resource as you teach to refer to the content. Now, coding and robotics is a relatively new subject for a lot of our schools, and in formal education, we are not necessarily trained in coding and robotics. So we can assume that a lot of our educators have possibly limited to no coding experience. And this is what makes our resources easy for any educator to be able to teach the subject. From a previous school where I was, often they looked at our academic timetable, they saw who had opportunity within their academic timetable to teach coding and robotics, and that teacher was then allocated to learn the subject and then teach the content. And for this purpose, we make it easy for learners or for educators in this sense. For those educators who are tech savvy, who have got coding and block coding experience, this will form more of an inspiration for you and to assist you to have more structure to your lesson plans. Right, so here is just a little bit of an introduction. There is a next button that you can click through and view, different pictures. It's pretty much the same content throughout, but some of our lessons include videos, some of them include graphics, some of them also include interactive learner activities whereby they drag and they drop things. Right? We also have videos that you can display. Now, in terms of teaching this, there are different ways that you can teach using our curriculum. What seems to be quite a popular method is for the educator to project the instructions and the step-by-step guidance onto the board or the screen, and then to have the learners follow the coding activities from their own devices or in the computer lab. Other schools enjoy giving the learners the worksheet and then allowing them to collaborate in groups and then move through the content independently, all right? Or they can be moving through it, on their own, as a single student to guide their own knowledge throughout the course. All right. So here is just an example now of a guided activity, the Say block. All right, so these are just your examples here, and then clicking into your next button, you can then go through your different steps. So you could be projecting this on the board, and the learners can then be dragging and dropping the instructions. And as you read, because we know our learners don't read that well, not that well, but they don't read the content so much. So there are extra little, tools for you as an educator as well to be able to teach and facilitate the lesson in this fashion. All right. And then you can just click on next. So I'm not going to go through all of these. You're more than welcome to do so yourself to see the depth into which we do provide those step-by-step instructions. This is just then the second guided activity. Here is the third guided activity. And then right at the end, we then refer to the worksheet. And this is then when you hand your students the worksheet that you have printed, or you allow them to access it on their devices. And it just then gives you an instruction on which worksheet to, what activities to complete. We do it like this as well, so that the educator has got discretion as to whether or not they want to assign it as a homework activity, as a class activity, or as an extracurricular activity as well. At the end of each lesson, we've got a review of the worksheet. And this is also where you can display it and the learners can mark their own work, or they can peer assess, and to make sure that they have a full understanding of the concepts of the lesson. You can then see the next lesson there is lesson 5. To get out, you can just follow the breadcrumb. Right. Are there any questions at this point?
No, all seems good, Greta. I'm just conscious of our time. We've got about, I would say, about 20 minutes left.
Okay. All right. I'm then just going to demonstrate on the senior phase. All right. In terms of the senior phase, again, we have a catalog available. We've got our core coding and robotics curriculum. We have got robotics courses, which include lessons with the iSense, lessons with the InspireBot. This is just basic coding of the InspireBot. And this is a level 8, so it moves on from level 7. And this is using Python to code the InspireBot. If your learners have had no prior experience to robotics, and you'd like to start with the basics, I suggest, and they are in grade 7 or 8, I suggest that you start with the robotics in the intermediate phase, and you can start them on, for example, level 4 or level 5. Right, we've got 3D modeling and design, whereby they start to design in Tinkercad and Fusion 360. We've got different drone coding courses, which makes use of our simulator. Text-based coding, we've got different Python and HTML courses, right, which is on another screen. And here is just a little basic game coding course, again, step-by-step instructions with a learner resource book with notes for the learners to be able to see the code and to guide them to. So this little game is just a fox that chases around a screen to collect coins. But we dive a little bit into the graphic design, where they can create their own character, they can make their own background, and they can change the code. And it's really fun because they're able to see the code happen immediately. And it's using Idle and Pygame. This is also a nice course, Python in 14 days. And then this is a little bit more of an advanced course, using Python to code the Tello drone. And then here is another advanced course on Python. Right, just going back again. I wanted to showcase the IRLs in the intermediate phase and the senior phase. Right, so here we've got IRL missions, and those below are just a short link to the drone blocks simulator missions. Now you will see we have got 2 sections here for the senior phase for IRLs. One is student-facing missions, and one are just our IRL Inspire in Real Life grades 7 to 9. So here's just a little demonstration of the different projects that we do have, from using 3D coordinates. So it's a mathematical concepts to inspect the Orlando cooling towers, delivering supply boxes from land to a moving ship at sea. It actually uses Pythagoras. Another one on Pythagoras to provide relief items to flood victims, raising awareness for bees, whereby the students are filming with their drones other drones that are coded to fly in a hexagonal shape, and then using video software to edit the lesson is where you can extend your lesson even more. Inspecting farms. And then I like this one, eruptive technology, where they collect data from volcanoes, so they can 3D model a volcano, do a little scientific experiment, and then fly the drones over. Scientific experiment, I mean a little bicarbonate vinegar experiment, and then fly the drones over, use the camera to take an image of the volcano, and then report back on imminent eruption, because drones are currently being used to determine whether or not volcanoes are in danger of erupting as well. All right, so, and this last one is just using cardinal points to relocate a rhino from the south to the north of the Kruger National Park using cardinal points. All right, so bringing in social sciences, mathematics, etc. The student facing is for those educators who would really like the groups to collaborate on their own. And currently I've got 2 IRLs that are student facing. So just looking at the relocating Sarah, and then I've got the theorem relief. Within these, you can actually see the STEAM allocation and role allocation. So in these IRLs, we have created them to be very interdisciplinary, so that you've got content in your natural sciences, social sciences, engineering, arts, maths, and technology. And these are all CAPS aligned contents that they explore within this project. This project can be done over a term, whereby natural sciences, they are discussing the driving idea and focusing on conservation in the ecosystem. Technology engineering, they're engineering a rhino for the mission, whether it is folding it up, building it from scratch, 3D modeling it, laser cutting it, and it provides step-by-step instructions for those learners as well. Creating logos and art, and then using cardinal directions. And then here is the actual mission that they code onto the drone to then locate and relocate the rhino. If the rhinos are light enough, they can engineer a plan to attach the rhino to the drone and then navigate it through, or code it rather, through to an endpoint. Right, so that is what the difference is between our student-facing IRLs, is that it actually provides the step-by-step instructions within the subject-specific lesson plans or lessons. All right. For my demonstration for the senior phase, I'm going to go into coding and robotics. This is our core curriculum. All right, I'm just going to choose here a level 7. And here you will see the similar strands as the intermediate phase. The only big difference between the strands is that application does not really involve much Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It focuses on HTML, basic HTML, to create a website, as well as spreadsheets. So getting more and more detailed and advanced in creating formulas within Excel. Then the other one is that within the intermediate phase, CAD is explored within the application strand. However, in the senior phase, robotics has been blended with CAD. So I'm just going to do a demonstration of that one. All right. So here we've got a little description of what they will learn, as well as a curriculum planner. And I'm going to do lesson 2. All right. So this is just an introduction to the InspireBot. And again, exactly the same as the previous time. You've got your introduction, and you've got a lesson plan that you can download. All right. It's going to look like that. Close that one up. There we go. All right. So again, our exit learning outcome, our learning outcomes for the lesson, our content and concepts, and a procedure that you can follow. So in this lesson, we're first going to discuss the functions and components of the InspireBot. Now remember, the LMS is there to guide you with the content and the theory that you're going to be discussing within the lesson plan, right? Then step 2 there is to assist the learners to install MakeCode, right? So we've got links on our LMS for learners to click into to be able to install MakeCode or to use the web version. Then there's the pin layout of the InspireBot, connecting the InspireBot to MakeCode, and then starting to code. And then here is just a little instruction that they're going to complete activity 1 and then complete activity 2. Again, there is a learner resource for you that you can print out to push to tablets or to devices or onto your shared folders or to print out for the learners. So that is content there, and here are the activities that they are going to do within the lesson. Right. Then just navigating next. Right, so here is some details of the technology that you are going to use. A lot of the times, our students and our educators might breeze over some of the technical details. However, it is extremely important that we do focus on some of the fine print when it does come to the different technologies or hardware that we have. Very often we will ask, well, you know, does it have a rechargeable battery? And a lot of the times within the content, it does sit within the lesson plan itself. Right, so you can then click on to next. And here then is an ideal opportunity for you to bring out your InspireBot and to be able to label it with a hardware piece in your hand, as well as this displayed on the board, or have the learners view this in front of them. All right, and then just a front view and rear view of the microbit. Clicking on next, here are the different components, how to charge the InspireBot. Right, so for a lot of our schools, we assume that some of the educators may or may not have any experience with our technology. We also assume that some of the learners may or may not have experience in our hardware. If you're finding that your educators or your learners have already gone through the training and fully understand how to charge, for example, the InspireBot, you can then just move on. All right, so again here, there are links within the LMS to install apps, for example, to click onto links for videos, additional resources that we have checked, websites that are safe, and you and the students can click and fully click into any of those resources so that you as the teacher don't have to go and search for additional resources yourself. All right, I see I am running out of time a little bit, but as you navigate through the lesson, right, you would be able to follow it step by step. Some of our lessons are a little bit shorter, some of them are longer, but as an educator, we use the available time that we have. If you've got 40 minutes, you know where to skip over. If you've got an hour and a half, you know that you can allow the learners to to explore the apps a little bit more, to explore the bots a little bit more, and to use your creative freedom as an educator to extend the lesson as well. All right, then just in terms of our Drone Blocks curriculum. Now, a lot of educators are also finding that, they're struggling between the Inspire Campus and Drone Blocks, and what's the difference? The Inspire Campus and the Inspire curriculum is a curriculum developed by us, Inspire Africa, as a South African company, and our lesson plans are focused on our home school, so our South African curriculum. Although our curriculum is agnostic and can be used in Cambridge schools or American schools with American curriculum, we are more focused on being able to align to certain learning outcomes, not necessarily just exploring a specific item of hardware and allowing it to do all the different functions. We take a look at what is in the curriculum and then we apply the hardware so that we are making sure that we are achieving the learning outcomes set in the different types of curriculums. The Drone Blocks curriculum is an American-based curriculum. It is our partner. and they have an entire curriculum with over 200 drone-related lessons. Right, they've also got Python lessons, JavaScript lessons, and for those educators looking for even more extension, the Drone Blocks curriculum is an amazing tool for you to use to really extend and challenge some of your learners that are becoming quick experts in the coding and might be finding the block coding, for example, too simple for them, or the Python coding too simple. All right, the Drone Blocks simulator is a simulator environments made by Drone Blocks that can be coded in block coding. All right, you can also code it in using Python. No, you can't code the environment using Python, but you can use the Tello drone and code the Tello drone using Python. Our simulator environments range from minimal, which is just a pink screen. All right, there's a tundra environment, city environment, Mars. I'm going to just showcase the Mars environment. And if you are subscribed to Inspire Africa, you will have access to the Drone Blocks curriculum. Their password changes every month, and you are able to access the new password from the Drone Blocks website. All right, so these environments are super cool. You can move around, you can change the location of your drone, you can move your drone around, you can create little challenges, for example, code a shape or a hexagon around the satellites, code a square around the solar panels, use 3D coordinates to inspect the rocket, and you can really get creative within all these environments. The Egyptian environment is lovely. It's got secret little hieroglyphics that you can go and ask the learners to explore the environment to find the different hieroglyphics, and then be able to code the drone to access it. Now, to code in Drone Blocks, it's also just very basic dragging and dropping. I'm just going to do one very simple one. I know we don't have a lot of time. And then to launch your mission, you can then view your drone move up and then launching it forward, traveling 200 centimeters. Right. In the obstacles, it's quite fun as well. If the drone flies into the rocket or it flies into a building in the city environment, it crashes and it falls to the floor. And then the learners know that they need to debug their code. The simulators are wonderful environments to test code before you launch them onto the hardware themselves. It can become quite frustrating if a learner is not using a simulator environment, for example, using a drone and coding quite a complicated code, and then not really understanding what they're doing wrong and where they're going wrong. The simulator environments are ideal for these complicated codes. All right, Albert, I'm going to hand over to you just with regards to the students and educators, and possibly how and where they can see what their students are up to.
100%. Thank you, Greta. Let me just pull up that screen. There we go. Yeah, there hasn't been many questions coming in, but
okay.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But,
I think I might have overwhelmed. I think it's a lot of information to take in. So thank you. Thank you. Everybody's
no, that was awesome. Thank you, Greta. Yeah, just quickly from an educator's perspective. So when an educator logs in the different permissions than what a student would have, for instance. So I just have one of the courses up here, but typically as an educator, this is what one will see. And then what we do is we would enroll you as an educator for the school that you are teaching at, and your students will also then fall in that same school. So once the students start working on the courses and those kind of things, then as they progress, you will be able to view where they are and what they've been up to and so forth. Now, this is just a generic thing that I quickly put together. So you'll see there are no marks or anything yet in any of these activities. They are all still empty. These are just fictitious students. But As an educator, let's say you were to give the students homework to go and do a certain quiz or go and read through a specific piece on the Inspire campus, you will be able then to see whether they are whether they have completed that, whether they have accessed and so forth. One can even continue further. And as an educator, you do have access also to reports for that specific course, meaning that if we scroll down, you can technically look at all the various logs of your students within that specific course. Now, again, as there are no students currently active in this, but typically this would export as an Excel file with the username and let's say the last time that they've accessed or which parts of the course they have accessed and so forth. Because I think that's quite important for us to be able to see whether our students are actually doing the work that they're supposed to do. One can even quite interestingly go and see when the students actually do this work. So because you'll find that some students might do it at 11 o'clock at night. Other ones might do it just before your lesson in the previous lesson. And some of them might do it, straight after school when they get home. So it's quite useful information to be able to access as an educator. Students amongst themselves are not able to see each other. They can't see what the other students are doing. They can literally only see their own little piece. So the only challenge there is because we don't have we don't require schools to submit the student names and email addresses and surnames due to the POPI Act. So you would have a list of users, and you as an educator would then line that up with let's say your class, and you would distribute those usernames and passwords to the students. The students are able though to go and add their names themselves if they want to once they've logged in. Otherwise, you would have to keep a list just to compare who is who, unfortunately. Good. Yeah,
where is it that they can change their names? It's within their profile.
Yes, it's within the profile. Sorry, let me quickly share again. So if we go in here, I'm just going to quickly go into my own profile. There we go. So once one is signed in, one can click on your own profile. Your little might just be a circle with a letter in it initially. But once you clicked on your profile, it will open up your details and you can essentially edit your profile there. So we find that a lot of our educators are adding pictures now. Students cannot change their usernames, but they can change their first name, they can change their surname, all those small little kind of things they can essentially add in here fairly easily. So not a difficult process. Most students are used to changing user details in the top right corner. So usually they kind of figure it out themselves. But if you specifically want, let's say, a role class to put their names in there so that when you click on your schools learners, you can straight away see who is who, then that can be done. That can be done. It's an available functionality. Okay, I don't know if there are any other questions concerning the Inspire campus, the Inspire curriculum in general. In terms of the educators that are on here, there's quite a few familiar names here. It's always good to see familiar names. But I also see a few new names that I don't recognize from the past. For those of you that would like to go back and have a look at some of our previous webinars, they are on YouTube. They're available there. If you go and search Inspire Africa on YouTube, you will find our channel. I will also load a recording of this webinar onto YouTube and Vimeo and so forth. But at the same time, I will also send out a mail with the recording embedded into it for those that would like to go back. All right, so seems all quiet. It's basically we've got a minute till 5 o'clock, so we just made it. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Greta, for taking us through that. Even though I've seen it a million times, every time you show it, I'm still like, I wish I was still an educator so I could use it. No, I'm just joking. No.
No, you're welcome. And for those of our educators that are on the webinar, if there are any of you that are struggling to access, you're not too sure where you should start, which course you want to start with, please contact me, right? I'm going to pop my email address just here in the chat, and feel free to email me anytime. We can schedule a meeting. I'm happy to sit with you and brainstorm a bit. Some of our schools, it's not a one size fits all, so you've got different needs, different equipment, and see how we can fit it in. I'm happy to sit with you.
Yeah, no, I think just to add on to that, Greta, the reality is that on the Inspire campus currently, there's, I don't know how many courses, but it's well over 60 courses, maybe probably more. But it can be a little bit daunting to see what is applicable to your school or your grade or your environment and so forth. So rather than trying to struggle through it yourselves, please always shout. And there was that a hand that came up.
Esther?
All good.
Hi, sorry, I'm on my phone, so all the settings are a little bit different. Yes, I've started with Inspire Africa last year, and I must say, I am one of those people that had no cooking clue how to do anything, and you guys made my life so much easier, so thank you very much. So Greta, yes, I'm going to contact you because there's a few things that I'm still not 100% sure about, but I just want to say thank you, you guys. You are really making my life a lot easier.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Hester. Yes, please reach out and contact me. All right. Happy to help.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Any other comments? It's always great to hear good feedback. If there's no other questions, yeah, then I would just like to thank everybody who spent their precious time with us today. Remember, we are here to support you. Please contact us. Please shout, be it regarding training, curriculum, hardware. Even if you're not on board with Inspire Africa's programs yet, we are still more than willing to help and guide and make suggestions and so forth. So please reach out to us at any time, and we're wishing all of you a wonderful afternoon, and until next time, take care. Bye-bye.